I just wanted to speak shortly tonight because I think we're in a culture that really, I think we all know, doesn't understand what Christmas means, right? And these days, the best answer I hear, and it is a good answer, I'm not critiquing it, but I want to make it even better, is that it's Jesus' birthday, right? And it's a simple way to explain it, but it is also so much more than that. And I'm convinced that even Christians often at this time of year, we get distracted with everything. We get, stressed out by buying all the presents and doing all the things, and we get distracted with different stories and narratives. And I think it's because we often forget or we haven't yet realized just how rich this day is, these 12 days, what we're focusing on here. That when Jesus, we're not celebrating any old birthday, right? In fact, I think that the main thing that we want to focus on is that when he was born, it wasn't just any human being born. We are celebrating at Christmas that infinite, eternal, all-righteous, all-wise, all-powerful God became a human, became man, so that we could be united with God. The whole story of Jesus is impossible without this night. So I want to enjoy that with you just for a moment through the songs we've been singing. Because you see, we sing for birthdays, do we not? And we've been singing all night tonight. I'm also realizing that I don't have my notes in front of me, and so I'm pulling them up really quickly. But we sing a bunch of songs, and we've been singing them our whole life, so I think we skip over some of these. So I'm just going to draw out some of my favorite lines that I think will help us realize what this night means for us Christians. So one of my favorites is from Charles Wesley, "O Come All Ye Faithful." And there, he just throws at us all of the classic explanations of who Jesus is. I think he's great to start with. Many of our hymns focus on the fact that Jesus is God, which is, hopefully that's not news to any of you, but it says that he's true God of true God, light from light eternal, Son of the Father, begotten not created, Word of the Father, now in flesh appearing. So all of that might sound like, I don't know, gobbledygook to you, or to many of us these days, but he is really stressing that this is not some lesser God or some God. He's the true God. He's light from light, begotten, not created. Now, that's kind of the more formulaic or formal way of talking about it. Or in another Charles Wesley hymn, he says, "Veiled in flesh, the Godhead see, hail the incarnate deity." So a veil is something that normally hides something. The reality is that when Jesus was walking around, nobody could just see that he was God, right? He looked like any old human. That's kind of the point. And so his flesh is looking like the rest of us, was kind of not a disguise, but it was a veil. It was something that we could not see the full nature, the full identity of who Jesus was as God. And then we get to Silent Night, and it's a really simple phrase. Silent night, holy night, Son of God, loves pure light. Just think those three words, loves pure light. You know how often love in this world is kind of stained, kind of darkened by the way that we express it for one another and live it out. But Jesus is the purest form of God, of love. He is love in complete purity. And then you might think about, what child is this? Where it says, this is Christ the King, whom shepherds guard and angels sing. Now, I had a hard time. We're still talking about the fact that Jesus is God, but this is also where we start breaking into the fact that he's man, because he is king in an earthly sense. He is king over other humans and over the earth, but he is also king over the heavens, which we do not see. And he can only do that if he's God. And then the last quote I wanted to pull for you is from one that you might not know as well, "In the Bleak Midwinter." It's a really pretty one. I don't know if we sang it here this year. But here's one of the lines from it. "Our God, heaven cannot hold him, nor earth sustain. Heaven and earth shall flee away when he comes to reign." And I just love that image. Heaven itself can't hold God. It can't hold Jesus. And so it's kind of like he's so big, so grand, that he has to break out of heaven into and take on human form. And so then many of our hymns focus on the fact that he was human. In O come, all ye faithful, it says, lo, he shuns not the virgin's womb. Think about it. The eternal God went through the birthing process. Like, I'm an adult now. That's kind of scandalous. It's not an easy thing. In many ways, giving birth is like one of the most human possible things. And the fact that he went through it, that brutal process of going through birth. I saw my nephew come out like literally blue and bruised. I mean, he looked like he'd been in a fight. And he was not too pure, not too holy, not too perfect to go through the virgin's womb. And then in Once in Royal David City, we sang it, he was little, weak, and helpless. Tears and smiles like us he knew. And he feeleth for our sadness, and he shareth in our gladness. Isn't that amazing that the God of the universe took on our flesh and he was little and weak, a baby? I mean, babies are fragile. They're tough, surprisingly tough, but also horribly fragile and tiny. And this is the beginning of, Jesus couldn't have done any of the work had he not known our pain. His ministry would be for naught if he didn't know our weakness. In O Holy Night, we sing, the King of Kings lay thus in lowly manger. Do you guys know O Holy Night? O Holy Night. We'll be singing it. The King of Kings lay thus in lowly manger, in all our trials born to be our friend. He knows our need. To our weakness is no stranger. Again, could we have a friend? It's so hard to have a friend if they don't understand your struggles, if they can't walk with you. And Jesus came down to walk with us. And then, so we've covered like, a lot of these hymns focus on his godhood, that he is pure, holy, perfect God, and others focus on his humanity and that he's weak and lowly and helpless. And then some focus on the incarnation itself, that intersection of what it means that the uncontainable God that heaven can't even hold somehow was in the form of a tiny little baby. And so in O Holy Night, it says, long lay the world in sin and error pining. So beautiful. In sin and error pining, till he appeared and the soul felt its worth. That's so good. There were religions of Jesus' day that said that this earth is just all trash. It doesn't mean anything. It's not valuable. There are Christians today who think, this is all going to burn away anyways. None of this matters. But really, when Jesus became a human, that showed us all of this matters. My body matters. This world matters. My life, although it's short, matters. Family matters. He was born to a mother and an earthly mother and father. It's the ultimate affirmation that we're not just like waiting to get past this stupid dream. This matters. Your body, your experience of life, your breath, your pain, it all is truly meaningful. And he wasn't too pure to go through it with us. And then, O little town of Bethlehem, how silently, the wondrous gift is given. Just think about that. There was this whole planet Earth. Nobody knew Jesus was born except for a few people. I mean, God was born in the form of a human, and nobody knew it. Silently, how silently, the wondrous gift is given. So God imparts to human hearts the blessings of his heaven. No ear may hear his coming, but in this world of sin, where meek souls will receive him, still the dear Christ enters in. So there's this crazy thing that in the incarnation, when Jesus took on flesh, one of the most, nothing like that has ever happened or will ever happen again. It's completely singular. And it's impossible for our brains to understand. And yet this thing of immense magnitude, nobody even heard about it or heard it coming. It happened in a nobody village, a hick little town. And so then finally, we need to realize that Jesus could not have died on the cross had he not had our flesh. He could not become our great high priest who is praying for us now constantly because he knows our pain and our weakness. And so many of our hymns focus on his mission. So in Hark the Herald Angels Sing, he says, light and life to all he brings, risen with healing in his wings. So it's pointing forward to the resurrection, that when we see his his birth, we're already anticipating his resurrection, and that when he rises, he comes with healing for all creation. Mild he lays his glory by, born that we no more may die. Think about that. When he's born so that we don't have to die anymore. It's beautiful. And then joy to the world. This is one of my favorites of all time. No more let sins and sorrows grow, nor thorns infest the ground. He comes to make his blessings flow far as the curse is found. There's no depth of darkness or pain or brokenness that Jesus didn't come to heal and fix. That's amazing. And then in O Holy Night, okay, I've already made it through without crying. I think I can do it. Truly he taught us to love one another. His law is love, and his gospel is peace. Chains shall he break, for the slave is our brother. That's good. I'll stop there.